Let's get a good sniff going here. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I think we have a picture here. And yep, looks like it's coming through. All right, this is them. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Ooh, it's getting my eyes. Okay, looks like we're good to go. What's up? Happy Sunday. We're going for the update. So I'm nearing the end of my time in Vietnam. I actually have 10 days left, but getting near to the end. And so I'm kind of starting to look at my time in Bali and be like, okay, what do I got to do? Get my visa, etc. Well, I was like, oh shit, to get my visa, I have to have a returning flight or an onward travel. So, which I didn't have because I didn't know where I'm going. So after Bali, I was like, I'll figure it out. So I had to figure it out pretty quick. So I just went on Airbnb and literally just like went crazy looking through. I have like a million lists and wish lists in different countries and different things. And I'm searching new ones that are coming out, and I'm searching and making a list. And I found a spot. So the thing is, it turns out, like, as far as I can see, Vietnam really turns out to be kind of the best bang for your buck you can get as far as cost of living. And I think there's some South American countries that compare for sure, but the thing is, there's less safety there. They're way more dangerous, I think, especially if you have nice things. And I just have like a bunch of nice shit, all my gear and everything. So it's scary for me to travel. It's like you could literally go on YouTube, you go kidnapped or mugged and robbed in Colombia or Brazil or whatever. And there's just a million videos. Like you could just freaking watch a trillion videos, but it's not the same over here. It's much safer over here. And the thing about Vietnam is I think that the communism thing, I can't tell if like the difference in culture or things, honestly, it's hard. I can't generalize Vietnam because I literally don't go out of my condo, but it does seem like it's just a little more like dishonesty permeates the culture. It seems like, or permeates everything. It's just a little more, people are definitely nice and respectful and cool, but I just feel like there's this like facade on everything to a certain degree, which I think is maybe the case with a lot of Asian countries, honestly, everyone. But I just think I don't know, it just seems a little, I hate to say scammy, but I just feel like I'm like, but I don't know. But I think, interestingly, I saw this ad for a new docuseries on Netflix on the Vietnam War, brand new. It's called Turning Point, and I'm like, oh, I gotta watch this because I'm here. I'm like in Vietnam, and I don't know that much about the Vietnam War, and just the trailer was like extremely arresting. I was like, oh my god, this is so fucked, and I don't know a lot of the specifics of it, but the thing is, I know like I'm already going into it, I'm expecting it to be to a certain degree propagandized one way or the other. But the whole reason I brought that up is because I'm in Vietnam. So I'm like, is this available on Netflix in Vietnam? Which I have a VPN, so it doesn't matter. But apparently Vietnam doesn't even allow documentaries on Netflix. Like it's just only movies and shit, which just kind of goes back to the communism thing. And interestingly too, I'm exposing myself here, but I was walking to the ATM today, and the gym I go to, they have a big like garage door that was down, and the gym's closed today, but I saw the gym, the workers out there, like the staff painting the Vietnamese flag on the garage door. Like, so the garage door is like a giant red, the Vietnamese flag is like a red, full red with a yellow star in the middle. And I just was like sensing my gut reaction feelings to the flag and like the big flag like that. And for some reason, the red, it just seems like, I just think communism and like bad. I just think, ooh, like it's like bad. And I don't know if it's just all the imagery of from the war and like the associations we have against China, which has like a similar flag, in Vietnam and communism, and all the propaganda and the way I was raised and all that stuff. Because by and large, your Vietnamese person is amazing, but I'm not trying to say Vietnam is shit or anything, but I'm just saying I guess the best way I can describe it is I notice the cultural programming informing my gut reactions and feelings, right? So I'm like, dang, it's just crazy. So that's why I want to watch this doc on the war and really see like, you know, more about it, the whole situation, because man, it's crazy to think like it wasn't that long ago where if I was born back then, I would be over here freaking killing people probably, you know, and like they would be trying to kill me too. And it's just crazy. It's just life is crazy. The world is crazy and time and everything. But anyways, that's kind of a rant there, but very interesting. I was going to talk about that documentary later. Okay. Anyways, all that to say, back to the point. After Bali, I'm coming back to Vietnam, and I'm going to stay on kind of the outskirts of Hanoi, which is the capital. And it's funny too, like, and to go back to what I was saying about the communism, like I was talking to my parents on FaceTime, and I told them that that's where I was going next. And my dad's like, that's heavy communism, deep north, or like, you know, North Vietnam, deep communism, you know, or whatever. And I was like, I wonder if you'll feel it or not. But it's just, again, that's what I'm talking about. It's like, as an American, we're just programmed like, fuck that. Interestingly, obviously not everyone, but man, what a complicated topic. I'm sure I'll talk more about it later. I might make a standalone YouTube video just about that dynamic. But anyways, the place is freaking sick. So I was going to get to it in my photo dump, but I'll just show you now. Here we go. So yeah, these are the two pictures I got. So this is the living room. So again, it's like the high ceilings thing. It's like, I want the high ceilings, and this place is fire. And there, look at this. Oh yeah, baby. So that's the desk, which I might try to move out to the middle. But man, vibing and creating in this big space. And man, the lady I was talking to, the host, like all the reviews talk about how dope and nice the host is. And I was messaging her on WhatsApp, and she was so nice and cool. And she's like, my family does these cooking things outside, and you're happy to join us if you want or whatever. And it's like, she sent me pictures of her and other guests like together and everything. And she just seems so nice. And there's no utilities, and I think it's $730 a month for that spot. So it's just like, you can't beat that really. It's like, that is a banger. So good Wi-Fi, good everything. So I'm going to be vibing in here after I go to Bali. So yeah. It's a banger. Look at how nice, dude. Wow. And it has a big old yard, and apparently you can get all the food delivery you want, and just very vibey and cool. So, and I inquired about getting a personal chef, because since it's so cheap, I was like, dang, I'm going to look at how much money I'm spending on Grab each month for food, because they order every meal. And then depending on that price versus the personal chef, which is probably going to be pretty affordable, I can just have them pull up like every other day and make just a gang of like one meal, and then I can just eat it tomorrow, because I've only been eating like 1 or 2 meals a day. I usually eat a giant breakfast and then like one thing for lunch, like a smash burger or something for lunch. And it's about $10 a day. So we'll see what happens with that. Okay, back here. Boop. Anyways, moving on from that. So I got my flight, and I booked the Airbnb, and I got my Bali visa. So I'm all ready for that. And then I don't know where I'm going after that, but I should probably think about it. Start thinking about it. Okay. The next thing that I wanted to say is I got an Apple Pencil, baby. Come on, baby. Yeah. It was really hard to get, actually. And, it's the second generation, because the Pro, even though I have the iPad Pro, you have to have an M chip. This is like the second newest iPad, so you can't get the Pro pencil. So I got the second generation pencil. But anyways, I got Procreate, and I started drawing shit. And I used to draw all the time. I love drawing, but I just don't do it anymore. But buddy, I'm on cloud 9 drawing, bro. I freaking... man, you just get lost in there, and the Procreate is freaking amazing. I had no idea, but the functionality of it and the different brushes and the way they all work, like if you get, for example, like an oil paint brush, and then you painting other colors, like it'll blend with the colors like oil paint, so it'll smear the other colors. And like there's watercolor brushes that like literally interact like water on the canvas, and like the harder, you know, if you press gently, it's like more color, and if you press hard, it like spreads out this and leaks everywhere, and there's like ink and like a million different crazy brushes. And that's just like one of you can do animations on there. The functionality is crazy. But anyways, I found out that I was going through the brushes, and I found a cloud brush, baby. And I was like, let's freaking go. I was freaking painting clouds, dude. Oh man, I'm having so much fun. I love it. And anyway, so that is the header for this. Usually the headers for my blog posts are clouds. So this is what my drawing of clouds once I figured out the cloud brush. I wonder if I can get you I'll get you a bigger view of it. Downloads. Poop. Okay. That's a bigger guy. Whoa, yeah. So let's go, baby. So that's my first try. So we're going to be going on that. And I might as well take you to my, that was my first try with the cloud brush. But before I found the cloud brush, I drew this picture. So this is my first Procreate drawing. Wow. Very cool. Very colorful, very fun. But I didn't, for this drawing, I didn't know what I was doing at all. So I didn't look up a tutorial. I didn't know how to use the app. I didn't know how to do anything. So this was my kind of first thing. I basically made from here to here. I drew, and then I did an AI expansion. Oh wait, this is the wrong one. This isn't even the right one. This isn't the finished one. That was the AI expansion. I got to make sure to switch that. We don't need that. That's a work photo. Where is it? What the heck? Is this the right one? I don't have it. Oh my God. Hold on. I wonder if I can airdrop it to myself. It should be on here. I have the wrong one. What a silly guy am I? Photos. That's the wrong picture. Where's the right one? Oh no. It's gone. Okay, well, I guess I can't show you. That's fucking weird. It's gotta be somewhere. I think, I might have texted it to my mom. No. Spency? No. Oh yes, here we go. Okay, can I airdrop it to myself real quick? Sorry for that delay there. There we go. Okay. Airdrop received. Is it this? No. Is it this? Yes, there. God. Sorry about that. I guess it's not even that much different if I move this down here. But I drew, so I did an AI expansion and then I put it back in Procreate and then I drew a bunch more with like ink and stuff like that. So that's what it is. Very, very fun though. So fun. Oh my God. I just can't believe how much fun I was having. It's crazy. Woo! I was just drawing my art out, baby. Wow. Okay, so let's see what else we got here. Man, I'm glad I noticed that was the wrong one because the right one's cooler. Oh, crack my neck. Oh yeah. I've been dreaming like a savage. Every night, vivid dreams, crazy dreams, waking up, oh, what the fuck? And I don't know why, but it's like, they're not necessarily nightmares, but they're like stressful. I'd say it's like a 6 or a 7 on the nightmare scale, pretty fucked up situations and stuff, but not like a terror and nightmare scary. So that's at least good. Because like, if I'm being honest, like living alone here, sometimes I get a little freaked out. Sometimes I hear some shit. Sometimes I'm just hoping no wacky, freaky ghost shit happens, because something about just being completely isolated, like makes me a little on edge for like some night terror, scary shit to happen. So I'm very happy that my dreams are manageable, but I can't figure out why I'm having them because my routine is like remarkably consistent. I'm like, wake up. I think I've woken up at 5 a.m. every freaking day for the last 30 days or 20 days since I've been here. Remarkably consistent, eating the same food every day, same work schedule, wind down at night, same bedtime, everything freaking the same. So same caffeine intake, like same everything. So I just don't know what's causing it. So, and we'll look at that. Those were some of my perplexity searches this week. So we'll look at it, but kind of weird. Let's go on with this update here. This guy. Okay. Costa Rica vlog dropped, baby. I love it. It's a real vibe. takes so long for me to get my vlogs out. I'm honestly backed up. I got to do my Bangkok one, and then I have the one from the music video we filmed in LA to do too. So that also comes with a blog post, which is some things I learned or realized in Costa Rica. So those are both new for me if you want to check it out. Very fun though. Great trip. Very good. Okay. What I'm wondering about, why is motorbike transportation so much more common in Southeast Asia than Western countries? Let's see what it says. It had some interesting, actually did have some interesting reasons. Okay. Affordability, right? Let people make less money. People are poorer, and it's way easier to afford a scooter than a car. Urban design and infrastructure. Yeah, the streets are narrow and winding and crazy, and there's little alleys and everything, so it's way more accessible, and also traffic, you can get through traffic like so easily, right? It's crazy. I just wonder why in like LA and places that have like the crazy traffic, like if there was scooters, right, it would be crazy, but I guess, I don't know. It's just not culturally not the thing. So yeah, parking convenience. Yeah, you can't even walk on the sidewalk around here because it's just fully parking with just fully filled with bikes. Economic necessity, people use them. Obviously, it's like Grab drivers, delivery drivers, most businesses. Like, dude, when I bought this desk, dude showed up with the desk built, strapped to the back of his bike, like delivering it, you know? So, and weak public transportation systems, which isn't the case in Bangkok, really, I don't think. But anyway, so that's an interesting one. Next one. Who is Ishmael Haniyeh, who finds out his sons were killed in an airstrike and is happy about it? This is interesting. So this is a Hamas guy, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Oh, he's the leader of Hamas. So I was watching a Sam Harris about this guy. So apparently his sons got killed and he got interviewed about it. They were killed in an airstrike in Gaza. And he was happy about it. He publicly expressed gratitude and a sense of honor for what was described as the martyrdom of his children and grandchildren. I thank God for this honor, blah, blah, blah. So this is an interesting thread if you want to go on my blog, because I said, is this objectively fucked up and a bad way to be? Is it reasonable to condemn this type of thinking and behavior? Which I obviously think it is, but I wanted to see what Perplexity would say. And it's so cool because it broke it down in terms of different moral philosophies and perspectives and ways you can come at it. So like it shows like from an Islamic local perspective, it's acceptable and even honorable, right? From that perspective. From a universal human rights, it's condemnable and troubling. From a universal human rights perspective, it prioritizes ideology over empathy in human life. Secular ethics perspective, reasonable to condemn. Celebration of death risks perpetuating violence. Empathy is a moral good. And from a philosophical perspective, it depends on the cause and intention. Martyrdom is only moral if the cause is just and the intention is pure. So you could imagine someone who truly believes in their cause, whether like, for example, if you imagine the Holocaust, right? And you have a Jewish person who dies but the death caused the end of the Holocaust, right? And then someone was happy for that, for the specific instance of this death that literally, for example, this is completely hypothetical, but if that specific death was intended to and did end the Holocaust, right? You can imagine someone saying that is, you can imagine a perspective that says that's okay to celebrate that, which I guess you could make the same argument for the Israel-Palestine thing, honestly, depending on how you look at it. I'm not saying it's the same, but which brings me to the next point. Hi, Adrienne, what's up? Shout out. Hello. Wow, a viewer. This is amazing. Okay, anyways, what I'm saying is this got brought up because I was watching a Sam Harris interview with Douglas Murray, because there was this podcast on Rogan with Douglas Murray and Dave Smith arguing Israel, Hamas, Gaza, Israel, Palestine, whatever. And so anyways, and it was kind of a train wreck. And I think Douglas looked really bad on it. And I like Douglas and he's pro-Israel. And I usually listen to him and he's really reasonable, but he seemed pretty unreasonable. And it was weird. And he just he was making arguments that I've seen him in previous interviews condemn, that type of argumentation, like appeal to authority, and things like that. But man, it's so convoluted. There's so much I could say about it. But anyways, he goes on Sam Harris's podcast after that, and they do a postmortem of it. And they're talking about jihadism and that kind of thing. And it's this argument about Hamas, how, they will, they're okay with civilians dying. Like they use civilians as shields and things like that. And the kind of basically underlying philosophy behind jihadism and the way that they celebrate death to a certain degree, it's kind of like a death cult, right? Where it's like the idea of dying is more okay, and the idea of civilians being killed is okay because it's for the cause and they're going to paradise, etc. So they're kind of talking about this. And they use this guy as an example. When his kid's dying, he's like visibly happy and like, this is great, basically. And so it's like, what the fuck? And in that conversation, they were talking about this video where I think it was ISIS, but they were, apparently if people are gay, you're supposed to throw them off a roof. That's like the thing in ISIS. And so there's this video of them doing that to people. And in the video, Sam Harris brings up this screenshot, and it's really weird because the dudes that were throwing them off the roof, the ISIS dudes, they have this like tenderness and compassion towards the dudes. Like the dude's on his knees with a freaking thing on his head, and they like are bent down and like have their hands on him, like, it's okay, brother. Like, it's like this thing where they're doing him a favor. Like, they have to do this, but everything's going to be better for it. And like, it's okay. I don't know if they were saying that, but it's like, that's with the body language. And it's not like, fuck you, off the roof with you, right? It was like this weird religious thing, right? It's like this weird compassionate thing. Like, this is just what we have to do. And it's like for the greater good. And it just gives you, it's just striking. It's like this striking look into like a mindset that is just so fundamentally different from anything in the West that we have, really, I think. Maybe it's not 1,000,000% different. I guess with the military, there's like a certain thing like that, like to go die for your country or something like that, die for freedom. But it's just crazy, man. It's so interesting and weird to see, and it makes the situation so complicated. And another thing I noticed that something that I often get reminders of is to not be so confident about my perspective of things, because in specific example, in the podcast with Rogan and Douglas Murray and Dave Smith, Douglas Murray is like roasting Dave Smith because he's never been to Israel or Gaza or to the crossing points. He's like, you've never been there? Like, how can you have an opinion? You've never even set foot in the region, or like, you haven't been there. Like, you should at least visit the place. Like, how can you even say all this stuff if you've never been there? And it's this like bad argument, right? Where it's like, dude, people can talk about freaking World War II and be experts and talk about it, and they've never been there, and you don't have to go somewhere to like have an opinion or be educated even on it, right? And I can see, like to a certain degree, I'm like, okay, it probably helps to go and see what's going on and actually see what you're doing. And Douglas is saying that's a journalistic expectation, that you visit and you see what's happening around and blah, blah, blah. So I can kind of get that. But at the end of the day, it's like a bad argument. And I was judging him for it. I was like, this is a bad argument, because Douglas himself, also in the podcast, they're talking about Winston Churchill and World War II and all these things. And he's saying all this shit about you. And it's like, well, were you there? Were you in, and you weren't. And so it's like this kind of hypocritical thing. And I was like, what the heck, Douglas? Like, but they didn't really get that much more into it, but it just looked really bad. So anyways, they talk about that on the Sam Harris podcast, and Douglas makes a really good point that changed my mind and kind of made me agree with him a little bit more. And it makes him seem less unreasonable. And the point was that he's like, with past conflicts, like for example, World War II, when conflicts are happening, there's so much chaos and all the literally the dust in the air, right? It's like all the fighting and all the crazy shit and the propaganda and all this crazy shit, right? And once you have a period of time for the dust to settle, and you can really analyze the whole thing from a bird's eye view, you can have more nuanced and accurate opinions once actually the truth has come out and there's been studies and surveys and blah, 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 and all this. It's different, right? Having a strong opinion on a historical event once the dust is settled and there's way more information at that point. What he was saying about this, why he was making a big point about not being there, is because during a conflict, It's not the same case. There is dust in the air and there is chaos and tons of propaganda, and you don't exactly know what's true and not and coming through, which could be said about historical events, but also that's why he was saying it's important to go there and see it, because you really can get a different view and see what's really going on, what it's really like, what people are really saying, what's really happening when you go see it and you experience the situation and talk to the people that were there and blah, blah, blah. So not that it completely defends his point, but I was like, dang, my mind flipped again. And that's something that is, okay. Anyways, sorry about that. Where was I? Israel and Gaza. Oh yeah, but the point is just that it just reminds me to be not so sure about things, because things are so complicated. But anyways, that's enough. That's enough about the Middle East conflict. Holy shit, we really went into that, but that is something interesting. Okay, we're gonna go back now to, where's my cursor? We're gonna go back to what I'm wondering about. So that was a freaking big tangent. Who is Ben Affleck's baby mama? Guess who it is? Does anyone know? It surprised me. I was watching him on Theo Vaughn. Shouldn't have been. Jennifer Gardner. 3 kids with him. Who knew? Not me. I did not know that. That was a surprise to me. Anyways, he had good things to say about her, so that was nice. Okay, this is interesting. Why do my Grab delivery drivers in Vietnam have super long fingernails on their pointers and thumbs? I've noticed this once. And then I started looking for it, and I started noticing it again where these dudes got long ass thumb and finger and pointer fingernails and not the rest of them. So I'm like, what the hell is that? So I was looking up about it. There's apparently a few reasons. I'm not sure which one it is. Apparently it's a cultural thing. So in Vietnam a long time ago, it was a sign of wealth, because if you could have long fingernails if you didn't have to work with your hands, right? If you didn't have to do manual labor. So it was like a high class society sign of wealth or affluence that you had long fingernails. So then people would just do that as like a status symbol. I'm not sure if that's why the Grab dudes are doing it. I don't think it is. It is commonly seen among working class men, including drivers and laborers now, because of the tradition, apparently. But okay, the other thing is practical reasons. Some drivers keep a long nail on one finger for practical purposes, such as opening cans or packaging, peeling fruit, or scratching lottery tickets, and using it as a makeshift tool for phone screens and picking at small objects. And one thing said picking their nose too, or ears, picking their nose and ears. So maybe that's what it is for. I'm not sure. Maybe I'll ask someone, but it's interesting. I know some people do that with their, I think, pinky fingers for cocaine in America or like in the West, but I don't think these drivers are doing a ton of cocaine is my guess. So I think it's more to do with a practical reason of like opening stuff or like using it for something. But who knows? I don't know, but I was like, dang, maybe I should try that. And then, is dreaming a sign of better or worse sleep? Which apparently it could be either. One thing is said that paradoxically, people who are sleep deprived may experience more intense or vivid dreams when they finally get some rest due to a phenomenon called REM rebound. So I'm like, maybe I was sleeping like shit since I moved, and then, once I settled in and got used to this place, I started sleeping better slowly, and then I started getting dreams because I changed rooms. This is a 2-bedroom, and the room I was sleeping in, the nice room with the window, it's really loud at night. So there's like cars honking and you can hear the street sounds and everything. So I switched to this other room, which is smaller and it's quiet. And I'm like, maybe I'm just sleeping better in there, and that's why I'm having dreams. Who knows? Not me. But maybe that's why. I started a new book. I finished This Is Your Brain on Music. So I'm going to do a book review of that. But what I'm reading is The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel. And it's pretty good. It's very interesting. It has a lot of cool stories of wealth and rich people and etc. He has this really crazy story in there where he talks about this dude who, I think it was the 2008 financial crisis, or it might have been a big recession before that. I think it was the 2008. But anyways, he for some reason shorted a bunch of stocks. And when the crash hit, he made like $1 billion or something crazy. He was like insanely rich. And I don't think it was 2008. I think it was before that. But anyways, so he was freaking stoked. But the crazy thing is he ended up losing it somehow in the stock market and whatever, and killing himself eventually. So it just goes to show you, he's like, the point I think he was making is hanging on to money is hard. But really interesting because I'm like, dude, what a crazy trajectory, man. Anyways, interesting book. What I'm listening to, that Indonesian chick, I think it's Dare. I don't know. I don't know what that name is. But anyways, her album just dropped and it's full of happy bangers. And I love her music so much. It's so up my alley and it's so freaking good. And I saved probably 3 songs from the album. Just love them, man. It's so freaking good. So this one called Jonah is like one of my favorite ones. It's really a banger. Photo dump. Okay, we already looked at the Airbnb. Here's my art, not the final one, which I need to change this. Here's a sunrise from the balcony. See the sunrise every day. Sometimes it's nice, sometimes it's not so nice, but this is a nice one. Very vibey out there in the morning. This is me at the gym. Danny Suede at the gym, going, pumping iron. This is the view from the roof, one of the directions. It's just interesting, man. It's just so chaotic, like this building and this construction. And it's like, man, it's so interesting to look around. Oh, this is my gym right here in the corner. But interesting to look around from up there and just see down. Yeah. But that's basically everything. I think I had one other thing. Shabba-dibba-doo. Oh yeah. Okay, I'll end this with a good story. Okay, this is crazy. So the dude that I went to see in Hua Hin, who has the Shiloh Children organization where he takes in a bunch of kids that are either from abusive families or orphans or whatever. I think he has like 12 kids right now or 9 or something, but he's had a bunch and he takes in kids and they have this organization that takes care of kids. So I went down to Hua Hin and I did a music day with him and I helped him get set up on Substack and to do live streaming like I do and showed him my workflow and everything. Well, I was like, I told him, hey, I'll get you a webcam, like a nice webcam so your streams can look good and sound good because the computer audio and video is pretty bad. So I was like, I'm going to do some research to find like what would be good for you. And then I'll let you know. And then if you buy it, just send me the receipt and I'll donate the money through the thing. So I didn't forget about it, but I was putting it off for a while and I was so busy. But anyway, so I see him doing some live streams and stuff. So I was like, okay, I got to figure out this webcam thing. So anyways, I find a good webcam for him. I send it to him. I say, hey, this would be good. Let me know if you buy it and I'll just donate the money. So it ended up being like probably $90, I think. He sent me the receipt. So I go to donate the money to him and I'm happy to do it. But on the other hand, I'm kind of like, I don't like spending money. So I'm kind of rolling my eyes a little bit like I'll give away this money. But the crazy thing is, I got roasted by my travel insurance. It's a long story, but essentially I bought a year of travel insurance and I didn't read the fine print that well. And I can't use it at all because you have to return home every 30 days for it to be valid. So I didn't know that. So I couldn't use it. And so I talked to them and they wouldn't give me a refund. They wouldn't let me change my plan. They wouldn't do anything. They just were like, fuck you, basically. Like you can't do anything. You just got to eat shit. So I was like, damn it. Anyways, I did a Trustpilot review and shit on them and just said, hey, if you're a digital nomad, watch out for this because, by the way, the customer service was horrible. And I was like, the customer service was bad. They wouldn't let me exchange it. I didn't even use it. I was like up like a little over 30 days in when I tried to use it. And they're like, you can't. And I was like, they wouldn't let me switch plans. Even if I paid more on top of my already plan to switch plans, they just wouldn't do anything for me. And they were just shitty to me. So I did a bad review. 1 star. And anyways, then when I freaking send this money, as I press the send button to send the money, an email comes in, boop, as I press it. And it was the insurance company and they said, hey, we'll give you 50% of the money back. We looked into your case, blah, blah, blah. And it covered the cost of the camera and over. So I was just like, man, the timing on that was just crazy. It's just sometimes the coincidences like that are just crazy. And I was like, wow, interesting. Maybe I should give more people money. But I think it doesn't work if you do it thinking you're going to get something back. I think you have to give and not expect something back and then you get something back. So it's kind of weird. But it was just a crazy coincidence. I mean, I'm not even joking. It it was almost like pressing the send money button triggered the email. It was like boop, ding. And I was like, what the heck? So that was crazy, but that's a fun little story for you. Anyways, I think that's about everything on my update this week, and I'll see you next week, and I'll probably have something to say about that Vietnam documentary. The other thing is I am struggling with watching YouTube videos, and I've been watching a few podcasts and YouTube videos when I know I shouldn't be, and I just can't. Sometimes when I'm doing work, like the client work and stuff, I don't want to do it, and the podcasts and stuff get me through. So it's like, that's why I do it, but I want to not, because you could tell if you go back by the way I'm talking about the Israel-Palestine stuff and just all this shit, my brain like rips on it. And so I don't want it to do that. I want it to rip on my other shit that I care about. And that kind of stuff, I'm like, I'm not going to figure it out. So I don't know why I freaking watch it. I shouldn't watch it. Maybe in Bali I can reset and really just disconnect. I just think it would be so amazing to be just fully freaking unplugged, like fully disconnected, nothing coming in, just my shit that I'm doing. But I am, speaking of shit I'm doing, I'm getting into the edit for my live video, and I'm freaking stoked. And so that's going to come with I think I'm going to release the live video with the live version and the regular version that I made together, probably. We'll see though. And my sunrise release is coming up too soon, so you can be looking out for that. But anyways, that's everything. Hope you have a good week. We'll see you next week. And make sure to check out my Costa Rica vlog. And thanks for watching. Go to dannysway.com if you want to figure out more about me. And also if you want to sign up for my weekly updates or my email list, there's a link in the description. It's free. You put in your email and you get my updates in your inbox each week, which come with a link to this video update, and also just a streamlined written version, and all the links and everything are in there each week. So that's what it is. That's how we do it, baby. Yeah. Signing off. Peace. Later.